thank you again, everybody, for joining our session today. For this afternoon, we will be talking about Term 3 intake, which is actually happening this month of September and in the next couple of months, which are in October and November. We are, guys, very fortunate this afternoon to be joined by some of our partner institutions in Queensland. So, of course, these universities are offering Term 3 intake. That's why they are here in the very first place. So please help me welcome each one of them. To start with, we have with us this afternoon Jack Whaley, who is an international recruitment executive from Central Queensland University. Hey, how are you, Jack?
I'm good, thank you. Glad to be here and looking forward to the session.
Yeah, thanks for joining us from Sydney, Jack. And next up, we have Evan Liu. He is representing Federation University, and he's based in Brisbane. He is one of the international recruitment officers of Fed Uni. How are you, Evan? Good to see you again.
I'm good. Good to see you guys. Yeah.
Great, Evan. Thanks for joining. And next, we have Samantha Milton. She is the regional marketing manager for Griffith University, and she is, of course, based in Brisbane as well. How are you, Samantha in red?
I am. I'm good, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for joining our session today. And next we have Neha De Sosa. He's the regional manager for South Asia for Kaplan Business School. How are you, Neha? I hope I pronounced your last name right.
You did.
I did.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
Thanks, Neha. I'm good myself. Thanks for asking. And last but not least, we have Barbie Buller. Did I say it right? Buller.
Very close.
Yes, thank you, Barbie. She is the business development coordinator for Torrens University, and she's based in Sydney.
That's correct. Hello, everyone.
Thanks, Barbie, for joining. Thank you guys for joining or participating in our session this afternoon. We will definitely be hearing from them all throughout the course of this session. Now, to give everybody a heads up on what's happening for this session, we are, again, as I said, we'll be talking about the Term 3 intake. We are going to talk about what this Term 3 is about, how does it work, what are the advantages of doing T3 rather than waiting for the next major semester, which is happening in February next year. I am also very keen to get more information from our representative regarding the course delivery for T3, considering that at the moment we are still in the middle of the COVID pandemic. So I would like to know whether you've been back to on-campus mode or you're still doing online classes. And also, we are also going to talk about the current trend in Queensland or maybe across Australia in terms of what's becoming popular courses for many international students, and also maybe if you could provide us an insights as well regarding the trend in the current job market in Australia. For sure, many students as well are very keen to know if you are offering some kind of financial support in relation to COVID, considering how difficult it is at the moment for many international students in Australia. And also in terms of the requirements to apply for T3 in terms of the academic requirements or English requirement, for example, which is at the moment very difficult to book for one. Yeah. But for our attendees this afternoon, if you guys have any questions that might not be part of those things that I have just mentioned, please again feel free to send them through the questions button located on the right panel of your screen. All right, now when we talk about Term 3, we would normally think of, again, the major semesters 1 and 2, which is in February and July. Not many students are actually aware that there is indeed T3 intake that is happening in September, October, and November, depending on which university we are talking about. This term intake, for the sake of everybody is sometimes called as the summer term in some universities. So what are actually the advantages of pursuing or starting your course or doing T3 in Australia? I think one of the advantages I reckon would be, it gives the students flexibility to be able to flexibility in terms of the workload as a student, because as a student you will have the capability to spread out your units across 3 terms in 1 year. So having said that, so every term you will be doing less subjects as compared to someone who's doing the typical bi-semester annually. And having said that as well, since you will be doing less subjects in 1 term, then that means you will be paying less as well, as compared to someone who's doing the typical 4 subjects in 1 term. That is also one way for students to fast track their course. If you want to, if you don't have, or if you cannot afford another 2 years to finish your course, then at least, you have this capability to finish your course much earlier if you're going to go T3. But what I would want to ask a receptionist is basically how T3 works in your university, because T3 I think is being treated by universities differently, if I'm not mistaken, right? So how does T3 work? Let's say, for example, at Griffith University, because for some universities it is mandatory, for other universities it isn't. So how does it work for Griffith, Samantha?
Thank you. Yeah, so our trimester 3 is really just there, as you said, to increase flexibility for those students in certain programs. It's also of a benefit for students that might be wanting to start earlier. So we have a lot of students that are finishing diplomas or coming from a different area where they're wanting to actually start before the November the next year. Our trimester starts in November, our trimester 3. And it is not compulsory for any of our degrees apart from our aviation program and our medical science, and 1 term for our education. But all the other programs, it's just there if students are wanting to pick up additional subjects. It's also really good if you have a degree where maybe there's subjects that have high failure rates. So you'll be able to do them again and make sure that you're in line with the rest of your cohort. Or you might want to be doing unique electives. So for us, it's, as I said, completely optional, but we also have really strict guidelines about how many subjects students can study. So I would always say that you go and talk to the ISAs and talk to the admin people, because sometimes you don't want to be dropping below that workload per trimester and unfortunately not fulfilling a visa requirement.
Yeah, you mentioned, Samantha, that the intake is November. Is it correct? November for Griffith University, yeah, for T3.
November the 2nd, yep.
Yes. Now I reckon it's the same setup for CQU, Central Queensland University, right, Jack?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a November intake, and I basically echo everything that Samantha just said there. It works the same for us. We do have that tri-semester, but we have a 3rd semester intake, but it's not a compulsory option. It's there for students if they wish to take it.
Yeah, I got that. Thank you, Jack and Samantha. I believe for Federation University and Kaplan Business School, it's the same setup, that T3 is not compulsory, right?
Yeah, for Federation University, semester is not compulsory. For example, we don't have trimester summer intake in Victoria campuses, but we only have the trimester in Brisbane campus, and it's only for the new commencing students or the students who are interested in the faster track.
Okay, so since it is not mandatory, so maybe for Kaplan, so if your T3 is not mandatory, so what will happen in the next, major terms or the regular terms, Feb and July? Can actually students sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. So at Kaplan Business School, for each course, we have a full-time study load for each year. And as long as the student fulfills that full-time study load before T3, they can take T3 as an optional summer break. But I guess as Sam and I think Jack previously mentioned, that if a student doesn't finish, it offers a bit of flexibility. So if the student, for instance, in March and July take 4 subjects each and finish the 8 subjects before T3, then yes, they can take T3 off.
All right.
But if not, they have that extra trimester.
Great. Because if it's not mandatory, so it's up to the student to manage their workload, as long as at the end of, let's say, at the end of the 3 terms, as long as they'll be able to complete 8 subjects, so they should be fine. So that's basically the rule. Am I correct?
They need to complete the 8 subjects before they start T3. So if, for instance, our student experience team sees that the student's actually not progressing at that rate and hasn't completed the 8 subjects, then they would recommend the student to study a T3.
Okay, so over 3 terms, as long as they be able to complete 8 subjects, then they're good.
Yes, that's correct.
Whether, in one of the terms they would do 2 subjects, in the other terms they would do 3 each. So that would be all right, yeah?
Yes.
But for Torrance University, Barbie, I know that it's kind of different because I believe your T3 is compulsory. Am I correct, Barbie?
Yes, that's correct. So what we have is we have 3 semesters per year, and we generally ask the students to study 3 subjects for the first semester, and again the second semester, and then 2 subjects in the third semester. So again, similar to the others, as long as they complete the 8 subjects in the first year, then they will continue on that way. So it will be 3-3-2 is the general plan for the students.
Cool. Now I'm keen to know because I was a student as well before, yeah. So I would always, I was also always looking forward to the summer break because at least I would be able to work full time. Now, T3 of course falls during summer, and for some universities that operate on a bi-semester system, their students are already on break, working full time. So how's the start date? So will they be able to have that long period of break after T3 before T1 next year? Just so they could have that capacity to work at least.
Yes, definitely they can. So each semester for us is 12 weeks.
Okay.
So after the 12 weeks, they would have a break until the February intake next year.
All right. So for Torrance University, so your T3 will end in which month?
So 12 weeks is the standard intakes, and then we also have the B intakes where they have the entry for students who may have missed the main intake.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 12 weeks from the 14th of September.
Cool. For Samantha and Jack, your T3 is going to start in November. So that when is it going to end? Is it until January or March or Feb?
Well, ours actually depends. So some of the programs are accelerated, so they might only be going for 6 weeks if it's an IT or a business program. But yeah, majority of the time it would go until about February, and then the students would have a few more weeks again before the next trimester. But most students wouldn't do all 3 trimesters. So it's about flexibility. If they start in try 3, they might not come back and do try 1 and 2 the following year. So they decide how they're going to do that and pick their own holidays.
Yeah, thanks. How about for CQ, Jack?
Yeah, so I'm just having a quick look now to make sure I'm getting this accurate.
Oh, good,
But
Jack.
so the term would begin the 9th of November and would go all the way through until mid-February. So like last day would be 12th of February. So the next intake, which will be term 1, would begin about a month after that. So they'd still get like a month break.
So it's not too bad then.
Yeah, and also
So
during that term, obviously Christmas falls in the middle, so there is there's a short break there as well. So it's not going to be just non-stop studying. There is the opportunity there to do whatever students want to do as well.
Great to know. How about for Kaplan and for Kaplan, Neha, like your start date and end date for T3?
Okay, so the start date is on 11th November, and it'll go all the way until end of Feb. The students get a few weeks, and then T1, which is our March intake, starts mid-March.
All right, thanks, Neha. And is it some kind of the same for Fed Uni, Evan, in terms of the timing?
Our trimester starts from the 16th of November and the middle of February, and then the exam starts from 17th of February until the 26th of February.
Then I would say that it's not really, it's not too bad for the students if they're looking for that opportunity to work full time, as long as they have that break after T3 and before semester 1 next year. Then at least that's not going to be too bad for them, because at the end of the day, students we have to educate them on how this thing works, because a lot of students, especially with the current COVID situation, they're of course looking for the opportunity to have to be able to work, just to be able to for them to meet their their financial needs. In terms of intake dates as well, if I'm not mistaken, some of you are actually offering additional intakes in the middle of your T3. I believe Kaplan has that option. So how does it work, Neha?
Yeah, so we do have a September intake that we've introduced for students to basically start earlier than if they didn't want to wait until November. It's a fast track intake where students just study one subject over 6 weeks, and then they progress into November, which is the D3 intake. And from there on, it's, the November, March, July, that sort of standard intake.
All right. Are there any, like for Fed Uni, Torrance, CQ, and Griffith, are you offering also additional intakes on top of, the regular T1, T2, T3 intake?
No,
I think Barbie's
Yes,
nodding,
yes,
so I think
I'm saying yes.
Okay.
Okay, so for Torrens, we do have another intake. So we have the regular T3 on the 14th of September, which finishes, as I said, 12 weeks, which would take it to the 6th of December. But we also have a B intake or a midterm intake, which is the 2nd of November, and that would go through until the 7th of February. Now, that intake is much shorter, so it's a more intense program for the students where they might only take 2 subjects so that they could start early. So for those who maybe missed the September intake and couldn't get in time, there's still that opportunity to join.
All right, good to know, Barbie. Now, I would like to know how your courses will be delivered for T3, because again, like what I said, we are in the middle of COVID pandemic. So for the past semester, universities and institutions are offering the course online. Are you still on that same situation for T3? Maybe you could start with Evan at Federation University.
Yes. As I mentioned, the trimester 3, the summer intake, we only available in Brisbane campus. So for this campus, it really depends. If the students are onshore, for onshore students, they still have a chance to come back to the campus. For example, this July intake, the new students, they already be back to the campus. There's their options. But so obviously, I think for trimester 3, T3 summer intake, onshore students, they definitely can choose back to the campus to do the coursework. But offshore students, I think that will be online delivery.
Yep. So are you saying is it the same for the other universities and institutions? Like for Jack for CQU, are you still doing the courses online, delivering the course online?
Yeah, that's right. So as you can see, I'm working from my spare bedroom at home at the moment.
I could see that.
Much like our students have been pretty much all year. I think one of the major differences, I guess, for CQ is that we have been, kind of a leader, I guess, in online programs and have been for a long time. So whilst I think, it's difficult, it was probably a difficult transition for a lot of students going for that experience learning online. We kind of hope that at CQ, we were probably one of the better placed universities, because actually before COVID pandemic, I think about 85% of our programs were already available online. So it was less of a transition for us, less of an issue that I'm sure some of my colleagues had to go through at other universities. So we are committed again to remaining online. I guess there are some exceptions to that.
Yeah, great that you mentioned that, Jack, that it could be a difficult or a challenging transition for many students, because when I was a student myself, I hate doing online classes, and I think that single online subject that I did, that's where I got the lowest score, I'd say, if I remember it right. So what kind of support does let's say Griffith University offer to their students, just so they can be successful with this new platform of online classes and online
just like the other guys mentioned, at Griffith, we're fully blended now. So all of our campuses are open. Things like medicine and dentistry are back on campus. But obviously, we have a lot of students studying with us interstate and overseas. So lots of support available online, from things like, we even have like virtual workout sessions every day. Our gym's fully online. Our doctors are online. Check-in sessions and all of our clubs and societies have now moved to virtual events. So there's live music over Instagram Live. Students can still do their mentoring sessions and everything fully virtually, but we also have all of our campuses open for students that want to come on campus and use the facilities and see their lecturers. So it's a really blended experience at Griffith as well.
Great to know, because that's actually my next question is about the facilities, because since you guys are operating doing the online classes, so I'm going to ask how about the facilities if I want to go to the library and then do some research, or use the facilities because I don't have a printer at home or whatever. So facilities are open in your universities despite you doing classes online, correct? For everyone.
Yes, definitely. We have libraries, campuses are open, but again, the same as the others, it's a blended learning of online, and they can come to campus if they need to for study.
Great. Yeah, thank you for that, guys. Now I would like to talk about the trend in terms of the popular courses within your university, because at least we can give our participants some insights on why is this course becoming more popular. So because a lot of students at the moment, based on the students that I've met since I've been doing counseling, they're like kind of they don't know what to do. So they would ask me, okay, so my goal is to, let's say, end up with a good job at the end of the day. So what course should I do and things like that? Although, again, there is that GTE requirement, so that's a different story. That's going to be a long discussion. But yeah, so what kind of like trend that you are currently seeing within your university in terms of popular courses recently? Maybe we could start with Samantha.
Definitely, thank you. I think for us, there's two sort of areas that are becoming really popular, and one area is that IT, virtual reality, cybersecurity is becoming really popular, all those sort of areas. And then I still think the biggest growth in Australia is definitely seen in our health areas. And at Griffith, we have the largest health department in Australia. So things like nursing, social work, health management, nutrition, psychology, all of those areas are really, really popular for us. And that's kind of where we're seeing majority of our students go to.
Yeah, great to know. Is it the same situation for Federation University, Evan?
Yeah. So for Brisbane campus, I think the most two popular programs will be, first of all, IT, and the second one is we have MBA called Health Service Management. So this MBA bring the non-background students to health service background, which really fit the recent situation. Like after this pandemic, we expect many more students going to be interested in this program. But look at the university wide, so Federation provide nursing, social work, as well as teaching those programs at Victoria, and then they are all the popular programs at the moment.
Thank you, Evan. How about for Kaplan, Neha? What are you seeing is the current trend at Kaplan in terms of course choice for international students?
So I think one of the courses we're seeing increased in demand is our business analytics program. Especially, even before COVID, I think it was one of the fastest growing job sectors in Australia. But I think especially now, during COVID, where interpretation of data has become so important because there's vast amount of data that's available, but trying to understand what that data is exactly saying to you. For companies, for instance, it helps you forecast demand. If you've introduced a strategy from a company, kind of to measure how effective it's been, it all comes down to business analytics. And because it's not restricted to any particular sector, so after you complete the business analytics program, it's not that you can only get a job, for instance, in the health sector or IT sector. It's kind of wide that way in terms of its scope.
I agree.
So I would say the business analytics program,
Yeah, data analysis or business analysis would actually cover all industries. We have to analyze data in making decisions and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So that's good.
Yeah.
How about for CQ, Jack? I reckon it would be kind of same with health related courses that are popular.
Yeah, I think similar to what the others have said. Certainly, like IT is obviously very popular, remains popular. The health courses like nursing, we've got a number of routes there, particularly in regional areas. But also we have the Master of Public Health, and that again, going in with everything that's been going on over the last year, that's a very popular course because there are a lot of career opportunities at the end of that type of course.
Yeah. How about for Torrance, Barbie?
Yeah, look, I have to say ours is very similar. We're very strong in the health sector and very popular for nursing, IT. MBIS is one of our also very popular programs. We also have a new program which is called MEM, which is Master of Engineering Management. this is only just starting for this intake. So this looks like a very promising program.
Thank you, Barbie. That actually goes to my next question, because like at AECC, we would normally get a lot of inquiries for nursing, social work, data science, so all these courses that you guys mentioned. Now, since we are talking about T3 intake and encouraging students to start in T3, are these courses actually available in T3 in your university? I would say with Jack. Go ahead, Barbie.
Yeah, so look, obviously nursing is always a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
It depends on whether it's a diploma or bachelor, but for us, we do have diplomas available. Adelaide is not as easy, obviously, because it's regional, but all the other programs are very, very available and ready to go.
Great. For Jack at CQ?
Yeah, similar. A lot of the programs are available with each intake. Nursing, again, I agree with, is slightly difficult. Bachelor nursing is normally term 1 or term 2 intake, but we are one of a few universities in Australia that offer the graduate certificate, which is a route in for students who've already got an overseas qualification in nursing. That is a program probably our most popular, and that is available for term 3.
That's the bridging program, yeah?
That's the bridging program.
For overseas nurses. Okay, got that.
Yeah.
For Griffith, Samantha, are these popular courses available in T3?
Yeah, so out of the popular courses I mentioned, we don't have everything available for Tri3, but social work, IT, public health, counselling, business science, IT, all of those areas are available in trimester 3 to commence.
Cool. For Kaplan?
Yes, so all our courses are available.
All courses are available in T3. Is it the same for Fed Uni, as Evan said, it's only Brisbane campus that would have T3 intake, yeah?
So we only deliver anything related to IT and business. Unfortunately, nursing or social work, those popular programs, will be available next year, February, in Victoria campuses.
Great to know. Thank you very much, guys, for joining our session today. Much appreciated. Again, to our participants, to our students, please feel free to contact us. We will definitely be able to assist you throughout your education journey in Australia. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.